Hey guys, I just got back from Star Wars Night at Disneyland in California. It is my 3rd year in a row going, and I'm going to talk about it with you guys. What was new? What wasn't included this year? Is it really worth an extra $160? I also have some crazy important tips and info for you guys if you're thinking about going to Star Wars Night, so don't go anywhere. Hey Star Wars fans, thank you as always for clicking on my video. This is Finding the Force, where I tell you in almost every video that I cover anything Star Wars, from video games to theme parks, and especially lightsabers. And as always guys, if you're not subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button, and the like button would be much appreciated. And before I just jump into this video, I first have to thank one of my sponsors, CCSabers, for finally completing my Luke Skywalker Farm Boy A New Hope cosplay with this beautiful Skywalker Episode 4 lightsaber, the first lightsaber the world ever saw. I'm going to do a full review on this, and I also wanted to make a couple of videos about my different cosplays, where I got the outfits, how do they fit, and some tips and pointers. So thank you CCSabers, this lightsaber is awesome, and it was like so much fun to enjoy Star Wars Night with the Skywalker lightsaber. It'll be on display right here. So I'm going to cover some tips for you guys who are thinking about going to Star Wars Night. I have some suggestions that I think would make Star Wars Night a lot better, and wrap up with my final thoughts on if it's worth the money. So just real quick, for any of you who don't know what Star Wars Night is, special ticketed events where you have to pay extra. They close the park early at about 8 p.m. Event starts at 9 and goes till about 1 in the morning. Other Disney After Dark events they have are like Sweethearts Night, 80s Night, and then probably the most popular, the Oogie Boogie Halloween Bash. So for Star Wars Night, they did have tons of event-only food and treat items, special event-only entertainment, a bunch of photo ops that you can get with only characters you'll see at Star Wars Night. But is it worth the price of $160 per person? Woo! That is an average entire day park ticket at Disneyland or California Adventure. Hey, by the way guys, when you visit Disney parks, let me know down in the comments, do you pay the extra $65 per trip to make your park passes park hoppers, or do you save the money and go 1 park per day? Let me know. Okay, so let's list off the things that were new to this year's 2024 Star Wars Night in Disney parks, and it's not really a lot. Time flies by so fast at these After Dark events that I didn't even have time to go check out the event-only merchandise. However, I do know that there was event-only Pandora charms of Leia and Han Solo, I love you and I know. I think that's new. And the only other things that were new or added to this year were very small photo opportunities with backgrounds. They had a full-size Han Solo and Carbonite photo shoot, which was pretty cool. They just had photo ops like throughout Disneyland, whether you could sit on a different throne like Palpatine or Boba Fett, or they had some like glowing Jedi or Sith backgrounds. So what they added this year was very, very small. And unfortunately, there's more missing from this year than there was last year. The biggest omission to this year's Star Wars Night, which is probably going to be a deal breaker for a lot of the fans who didn't go this year, was the fact that they did not include fireworks. I definitely don't like to be critical about Star Wars and especially Disney parks, but we've become so accustomed to their super technologically advanced projection mapping fireworks shows that watching the Star Wars fireworks from last year, where there was no projections, played a bunch of different Star Wars songs, and I think they sort of fired off fireworks that matched the music. But unfortunately, it did feel like to me a bit of a downgrade compared to not only other Disney After Dark events, but especially their traditional fireworks shows. If you have tickets and you're going to Star Wars Night, the first thing you have to do is find a map as soon as you possibly can to start mapping out where you want to go and what you want to do for your night, because this is going to fly by so fast. If you don't have a park ticket that day, they let you in at 6, but nothing Star Warsy happens until the stroke of 9 o'clock. At 12:30, they have like a farewell So the event is really just like 3.5 hours long. And for a lot of you guys who go to Disney parks frequently, you know you cannot really get a lot done in only 3 hours. So it's crucially important to try and check out this map to pick the most important treats you want to try. And now I've got my hands on the Endor Forest Churro. Characters you want to get a picture with. No! Ah! And events that you have to be there for. No! I think when you look at the map and you're trying to make some decisions, pick 3. 3 of your favorite Star Wars characters you want to get a picture with. 3 treats or food items that look the best to you. And 3 of the more major entertainment pieces to go attend, I think will set your standards at a more reasonable level for how much you can get done in just a few hours. My next piece of advice for you guys is that one of the big draws to Star Wars Night is that you actually get to cosplay in Disneyland Park and Galaxy's Edge, which is something you don't get to do the whole entire rest of the year. And I'm giving you this advice from experience. I made the wrong choice at Star Wars Night, and I decided to wear my super custom made Luke Skywalker boots from A New Hope instead of just wrapping up my shins and wearing tennis shoes. I don't think hardly anyone's going to notice, and you definitely don't want to ruin your feet, especially in the middle of a Disney vacation. That I felt like this year on my particular night, I think it was maybe only 10% of people there in the park were really dressed up. Another tip that I want to share with you guys is that if you have a really cool Star Wars cosplay, maybe just consider bringing like some of the cosplay. Some Disney fans on a regular basis do something called Disney bounding, and they'll wear clothes that you can totally tell looks like Han Solo or C-3PO, but they're just normal clothes. But I would totally get it that if you're like traveling or you want to pack a bunch of extra costume stuff, you know, minimizing the level of cosplay is probably a good idea. Now, this piece of advice probably goes for any Disney After Dark event, which is do not go on any of the rides, especially the teacups. I'm just kidding, man. To each their own, do what makes you happy. But my advice, though, is that if you're gonna pay this big chunk of cash to go do Star Wars stuff in the park, I recommend going to do things you can only do during Star Wars Night and not any other day of the year. So I know it's like crazy tempting to not go hop on Thunder Mountain or jump on a Mickey's Runaway Railway, but resist that urge and go get those photos and treats and special merchandise that you can only do for a few hours. Otherworldly entertainment, these are kind of like the larger type shows that they have going on. The lightsaber meetup with Rey, that's a must.
Everyone, for the resistance, activate your sabers, now!
Everyone gets together and you see like an entire ocean of lightsabers, probably hundreds of Star Wars fans with their lightsabers. It's a really great energy. That's something you have to do. The Galactic DJ Party Zone is, it's kind of just going non-stop. You get a few people kind of wandering around, you know, dancing a little bit, but it wasn't a very crowded happening area. The lightsaber instructional, and they have some people on stage kind of doing some lightsaber moves, but kind of feels like it's targeted towards a younger audience. I mentioned March of the First Order.
Don't disappoint me again. Understood.
Choose your path. So as far as I understand, this is literally a barcode that you scan with your camera and you vote online, and that's it. Fans of the Force Costume Cavalcade, which is a miniature parade made up of everyone who's going to the event, marching from the front of the park just to the hub and taking a cool picture with Mickey and Minnie in front of the castle. That is probably one of the more fun things to do, and I would recommend trying to fit that in. There's only 2 times where you could do that. The Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes, where they're on a raft and they play everyone's favorite Cantina song, and they just kind of scoot around the river and then it goes away. Because it's over in like a few minutes. It's just like the one raft with the band. And the Fond Farewell at Main Street at 12:30. 3 hours goes by super fast. So what does Star Wars Night need? So I want to compare Star Wars Night to Oogie Boogie Bash, which is probably the most popular Disney After Dark event that they have. And there's two major things that Star Wars Night needs badly. Like I mentioned before, one is a serious fireworks show. I want it really thought out and emotional, covering like all the trilogies, a big to-do, just like they do for Oogie Boogie Bash. And two, during the Oogie Boogie Bash, they have a really crazy fun Halloween parade with everyone from like Ichabod Crane to the hitchhiking ghost in the Haunted Mansion. So having a huge epic themed parade with the Mandalorian, the Jawas, the Ewoks, and all of them to like start the whole night, I think would really add a lot of value. So is it worth the extra $165? Well, as I pointed out earlier, Disney After Dark for Oogie Boogie Halloween has a big massive parade and a fireworks show, and I think it's probably about the same price. Does make it a little bit hard to want to shell out that cash for just a few hours extra in the park. Is that if any of you out there are really wanting to go to Star Wars Night, go ahead and do it. But for right now, it feels like an event to maybe do one time. And TBH, I'm kind of not really sure if I'm signing up for next year. Unless they add a bunch of new characters or those fireworks, a parade I talked about, I'll probably be skipping maybe the next year or two and attending every once in a while. Have you gone to Star Wars Night and did you think it was worth the extra $165? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you again to CCSabers for sending me this super rad Skywalker lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 4. Until next time guys, take care, be safe, and have an awesome Star Wars Day. See you next time, guys.
Oh, you're not my father! No!